Take another little piece of my heart now.
Yes, so Hairless here. We haven't done one of Pentatonix's sing-off performances in a while. Recently I've been seeing more requests for Dog Days Are Over, and I'd like to get through these sing-off performances all eventually. Now, I know the sing-off performances generally aren't as popular because they're live, they're somewhat restrictive. They're early days Pentatonix, and Pentatonix have grown so much since then. But I find them so interesting and fun, and I think they're really important to understanding the group as they are now, even though I've not yet seen them in the Matt era. That will come, it will come. Right, so this is Piece of My Heart, originally recorded in 1967 by Irma Franklin, Aretha Franklin's older sister. Janis Joplin covered the song the following year in 1968, really propelling it in terms of popularity. This was Pentatonix's third performance in the sing-off. We've already seen the first two. You can find them in my Pentatonix playlist up here. The theme for this week was 60s favourites. Piece of My Heart. It's a nice soul song. It's one that I know the melody to, but I don't know all the words by heart. I have some ideas of standout moments in the song. It's a Pentatonix arrangement after all, so who knows what they'll do with it. I like this bit from the preview.
Our group has never ever done a 60s song before, but I know that we'll be able to pull this song together and really work hard. I mean, maybe.
Step. Avi just whipping the towel around.
Come on. Like you were the only girl.
Okay, sorry, I have not done a pause so soon after the opening in a long time. I think since my gold reaction, actually. So I hope you'll forgive me. We will start again, but I just wanted to say one thing before I forget. It's a lovely opening, firstly, so smooth, the choreography as well. All of them walking towards the audience, bringing their music towards the audience. But this opening, I mean, it's crazy to see the more recent Pentatonix after this. Okay, this is my 29th Pentatonix video, so I think I can say I'm familiar with them, at least in the Avi era. Coming back to see one of their first performances and immediately being hit with some of their most fundamental tropes, if I can use that word, is quite something. What I mean by that is the synergy between one, Kevin and Avi, which I always mention, and of course Kirsty and Mitch, with their voices being essentially interchangeable, which again I often mention. We just immediately get this, especially Kirsty and Mitch.
Come on. Like you were the only.
It's a small thing, but to me, these two at this moment just stand out as working perfectly together. And it's so cool to see how some things don't change at their core, but continue to evolve elsewhere. All right, I don't know why this small thing affected me like that, but let's start again.
Come on. Like you were the only girl. Hey. Whoa, didn't I give you everything a man possibly can? Oh, and each time I tell myself, well, I think I've had enough. Well, I'm gonna show you, baby, that a man can be so tough. I need you to come on, come on, come on, come on and take it. Take another little piece of my heart now, baby. Break another little piece of my heart now, darling. Yeah, come on. Have another little piece of my heart now, baby. Yeah. You know you got it. If it makes you feel good. Oh, yes, it does.
Alright, quick pause. It's a short performance, so we'll carry on in a moment to the end and then go over the analysis afterwards. I'm finding the choreography here most interesting. I wasn't alive in the 60s. I've not seen too much footage of dancing from the 60s. I know there were some weird and wonderful dances back then, very different depending on the musical style and subculture, whether you were a mod or a rocker or a hippie or a biker. But this,
take another little piece of my heart now.
I wouldn't know what to call that. Please do let me know if that's a popular move from back then. I'm intrigued. It does make you want to groove though, I'll give him that. Alright, let's carry on.
Oh, yes, Take another little piece of my heart now, baby. Break another little piece of my heart now, darling. Now, darling. Have another little piece of my heart now, baby. You know you got it if it makes you feel good.
Alright, wow, yeah, I did enjoy that one for sure. Great song choice as well. There were some cool things they did there with that arrangement, so I think let's go back over it and discuss. Alright, so we spoke about the very start already, on the point I was making about it being a smooth opening. Scott's glissando here, that slide he does.
Like you.
Very smooth, especially when contrasted by Mitch and Kirsty's staccato disjointed oohs, which are also rhythmically irregular. Notice how they come in just after the bar or the measure begins.
Like you.
This creates a syncopated feel under Scott's slide up this elongated note. Avi's part, extremely important. He's the one bringing the swing here, as Kevin's beat, because of the nature of the music, is fairly reserved or chilled, laid back. And Avi is not going particularly low either.
Like you.
He's not going below this note here, which is fairly conservative by the standards of a choral bass. Anything below here is considered very low. This intro leads into our first homophonic moment, everyone singing the same words at the same time with the same rhythms.
Hey. Whoa.
Short but different to what we've heard before, so a bit of variety. Avi's part though, he doesn't join them in those whoas, which is fair enough. He's imitating a double bass, we can think of it like that. But rhythmically he's also separate, but only just. Notice how everyone moves up quickly to their second note, wah, but Avi waits until after the second beat, if we think of it in terms as 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, what happens next? So here, their choice to have Kirsty and Mitch just singing ooh, sustained notes in harmony with each other, it's quite risky, I think.
And each time I tell myself, well, I think I've had enough.
So when you remove the melody and the bass part, not including Kevin because he's the beats, you're then left with two voices, two parts, with which you can create something interesting. On paper, singing ooh, barely changing the notes is not interesting. There's no rhythmic variance. The parts are singing entirely the same thing rhythmically. So with arranging, the musical context of every second of the performance is really important. The context here is that we see the first interesting modulation. In other words, chord progression. By using long sustained oohs harmonizing with each other, it really highlights the harmony that we're hearing.
And each time I tell myself, well, I think I've had enough. Well, I'm gonna show you, baby, that a man can be.
I'll play a couple of examples on the piano demonstrating this chord progression, and you tell me in which one is the harmony more obvious. Or so underneath all of that, Avi's part is providing this rhythmic and melodic variety. Let's listen to him. He rises up and then comes all the way back down.
Well, I'm gonna show you, baby, that a man can be so tough.
He does it very quickly, and this is why it's so important to have a solid bass. They really are the rock underneath everything. When he descends, he then goes down to the lowest note we've heard him sing so far.
Come on.
Funnily enough, that's one note below the note I was talking about earlier, under which I consider it to be very low. And then we get this nice textural layering, the parts coming in one above each other, moving into the chorus.
I need you to come on, come on, come on, come on and take it. Take another little piece of my heart now, baby.
and Kirsty and Mitch are using that sustained ooh motif again, but to give it a bit more oomph and some fun rhythms.
Take another little piece of my heart now, baby.
One, they enter just after the bar or the measure has started for some slight irregularity, and two, they move together as well, so they're not just holding the same note like we heard last time. Their overall motion is upwards, even though they have a little pit stop to kind of stop off and go back down between the two phrases.
Oh, baby.
It's this nice melodic motion between Kirsty and Mitch. I feel like I say Kirsty and Mitch too much. Maybe I'll call them kitsch or Mersty. No, I prefer kitsch. For some reason, I don't think kitsch is a Pentatonix term that's going to catch on. So, to the arrangement itself, again, owing to the soulful and swingy nature of the original song, the arrangement is not too crazy. Naturally, because of the various restrictions of the genre as well, it feels a bit more empty than when they use some nice polyphonic counterpoint, for example. So little things like Scott going, hey! It just helps to add in an extra little layer of something a bit different. It's not singing, it's speaking, we've not heard it before, just there for a bit of something else. And what else does Scott do to add some je ne sais quoi? Well, we get this repeated chromatic inflection. It reminds me of their performance of Let's Get It On. If I was watching this show at the time when all these episodes were aired live, I would have been convinced that I would have Pentatonix sussed out and that I knew their style by this point. We've seen the first 4 performances. At this point, there had been no Mitch slaps, there'd been no insanity in the arrangements. There'd been no, well, so many things that we've seen in newer Pentatonix. This is why I love watching these performances of groups like this when they're young, when they're starting out, and why I think it's very important just to see how they grow and adapt to their strengths. And at this section, we see a few things in terms of how the arrangement is slightly growing as the performance moves on. Mitch and Kirsty have evolved from ooh to words.
Come on. Have another little piece of my heart now, baby.
Then Avi has this nice little chromatic descending bass line working as a connector to the next thing, which is homophony, like we heard before, but this time Avi is a part of the homophony as well. He sings the same rhythms as everyone else, so they've now kind of combined into this one rhythmic entity.
You know you got it, 'cause it makes you feel good.
And then the next bit, now I like this.
Yes, it does.
It's fun, it's comical, it's not too serious, but it's actually good musically as well. How often do you see a switch up in parts like this, especially from the beatboxer to using his falsetto? I mean, in a show like this, live performance, limited on time, not a studio recording or something after the groups are already famous. It would have just been unexpected, I'm sure, for many people watching this. And having Mitch fill in the kind of simplest of beats you can get, they still keep some form of percussion in there. Then towards the end we get a bit more of a percussive moment from Avi before finally ending with another homophonic moment slowed down.
You know you got it, 'cause it makes you feel.
And a nice funky chord at the end. Well, it's actually only Scott's part who's providing the dissonance, but he's moving around a little bit. And Mitch's part there was particularly interesting. Pentatonix, third ever performance, Piece of My Heart. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Fairly restrictive for reasons I mentioned earlier, and considering the 2-minute time limit they had in the show, but nice to see how they've grown, developed, worked to their strengths. I'm going to see more of that. Always fun to see little baby tonics. Let's leave it there. As always, thank you very, very much for watching. Would appreciate a like, comment and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community, vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the Patreon or YouTube memberships links below, and I will see you next time.